Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of This Week in Canada. My name is Roberto Wakerl-Cruz. Thank you very much for joining me this week. And before we get started with the show, why don't you go down to the links below and check out the many ways that you can support us, including a membership to the Post Millennial page. That would do us a lot. If you just gave $5 a month, you get an ad-free experience to all the news that we provide. A lot of it's written by me. And you can go to our Rumble page and the Post Millennial clips page where you get all the breaking clips that you might miss out on. These are a lot of U.S. and Canadian clips that we just post out there for the public to see. So why don't you do that, check us out, and consider a donation. Now let's jump into the show because I do have a bit to talk about, and I missed last week because I had COVID-19. I don't know if you've heard of it. I had Omicron. Was totally fine, basically. I had a fever, very high fever, about 103 for a day, and then very achy for the next day or two. But I'm fine. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have actually maybe had it. So let's just jump into the news. Let's start with Quebec. I want to talk about Quebec, obviously. I live in Quebec. A lot of you don't. And I would even go so far as to say that a lot of you maybe actively dislike Quebec, but that's fine. Quebec dislikes you as well. Quebec, as we all know, very strange, interesting place. It's surrounded by Anglophones, refuses to adapt to any kind of English use in any mainstream setting, despite it being the lingua franca of the world. Doesn't really want to be a part of Canada and has no active interest in like strengthening the union or whatever. They're kind of like Confederates in that way. They're confederacy. They're anti-federacy. So a very strange, they want to rip apart Canada, but you know, we put up with each other in this very strange kind of way. It's not quite parasitic, but it definitely does bring down morale, especially when you see the news that their premier, who they call the Premier Ministre, that's just a translation thing, the Prime Minister of Quebec, François Legault, has just been going nuts. This guy's going wild. If you thought your province was bad, and there's a few that are out there that are maybe not great. Ontario has that guy, cherry cheesecake guy that makes the cheesecakes, Doug Ford, brother of Rob, who is like a fence-sitting kind of like corporate sellout that doesn't have a spine. Like, I mean, that guy's bad. BC, you got the NDP over there. Horgan, I guess, who isn't even popular with like left people, but he's like, or right people, because he's I don't know really, because the sense I get from Horgan is that he's not as left as people want him to be in the NDP setting. Like the Liberals in BC are like the Conservatives. So the NDP are kind of like the Liberals. So he's not quite. And then there's Alberta, same thing. Jason Kenney, no backbone. And Scott Moe, who's we'll talk about later in Saskatchewan. But we're going to talk about Premier François Legault because he's decided that if you are unvaccinated in the province, and sorry if I'm out of focus here, if you are unvaccinated in the province of Quebec, that you will have to pay a healthcare contribution. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that if you have to go to the hospital, you have to pay. It means that if you are just unvaccinated and living your life as a normal person, even if you're not in the hospital, you will have to pay a healthcare contribution. What is this contribution, you may ask? Is it $50 or $100? Well, specifically not. Legault says that's not enough. It has to be higher. But not to worry, if you are medically exempt from it, then you won't have to pay. But everyone else, which is about 15% of the population, will still have to pay. François Legault, just some background on him, he was a businessman. He was part of the Parti Québécois, which is more of a separatist party, I believe. And then he left and started his own thing called the Coalition Avenir Québec, who are not separatists. They don't want you to think they're separatists, but they're all about autonomy and how much they can get away with, basically, is what autonomy means. He seems like he would be based and like cool, like he would be right wing, but Quebec kind of exists outside of the sphere of like left and right in a way, where it's more about, are you really pro Quebec or like pro like liberalism in Canada, like the Quebec Liberals? So François Legault is like super about keeping Quebec's identity on the Canadian stage. And is a very popular leader in Quebec. He's polling very high. He's probably going to get reelected come the elections in October. But it's incredible that that's true because he keeps putting his people through so much shit. It's like the population has it's like we're in an abusive relationship with François Legault. And he keeps drawing us in because he seems so sweet and like, I guess, charming and like maybe like competent. But really the things that he does are so like just nonsensical. The curfew that we had and expired this year also restarted at the end of this year. We had a 2-week curfew. That's going to go away. Starting on Monday, the curfew's gone. So, I mean, I don't know if that had any effect. Personally, I didn't really obey the curfew. I had friends over for New Year's. We partied. People walked home after, like during the curfew. Nobody got pulled over. So I think it was just a scare tactic. But this is kind of really grinding my gears because, as you may not know, I'm an unvaccinated person. And I'm not going to pay this. And this is the kind of thing that you have to do with your brain when you hear news like this. What are you going to do if I don't pay it? Am I going to go to jail? And then me and my other unvaccinated people are all going to be in jail? Is my credit rating going to go down? Why are we giving like the tax bureau my health records as well? That doesn't seem like a good thing. It doesn't seem like this was thought out at all. And what did Justin Trudeau have to say about this? Our prime minister, you would think hopefully the prime minister, well, no, not with this guy. We already know what he said. He didn't say anything. We can roll a clip right now of him saying nothing. Basically what he said is that he needs more detail. So let's roll that clip.
Obviously, like people across the country, we've received that proposal with interest by the Quebec government, but there's a lot more details that we have to hear on how this would work before I can make any comments on it.
Right, so there's Justin Trudeau saying that more detail is needed, but he does admire that provinces are exploring options. We know where this is going to go, certainly because the CAC it seems like they can do whatever they want. They're going to put this through. I don't exactly know the details. Nobody knows the details yet of how it's going to be implemented. I'm not going to pay, and then I guess I'm going to get shot in the street for being an enemy of the state or something. I'm not really sure. I don't understand how this plays out. Justin Trudeau also doesn't, but he's been assured that it's not going to break the Canadian Health Act. It kind of sounds like there's an argument, I suppose, to be made about someone going to the ER, like needing an ICU that's unvaccinated, having to pay. I still disagree with that, but I understand the logic a little bit more. You know what I mean? It follows a stream of logic that I can follow from A to B. I disagree with it because people already pay taxes. I already pay a lot of taxes that go into that healthcare system, right? So I shouldn't have to pay. That should cover my bases, actually. I should be able to do whatever I want the same way that I can eat a cheeseburger every day or pizza, or I could go skiing and do extreme sports and be able to use an ICU, right? Does that all make sense? We're in lockdown right now. Things are closing. For some reason in Quebec, he decided that it would be a good idea that we just close stores on Sundays. This isn't science. He's admitted openly. He said, I just kind of play it by ear. I don't fucking know what I'm doing up here, but I like to make decision based on my feeling on the situation. It's a very strange thing. We closed all the stores on Sundays besides pharmacies just like throwing a Hail Mary. Just like, maybe all the COVID cases are on Sundays. Fuck it. Let's try it out. So that was a bit of a strange thing. I didn't really see that coming. But anyway, we're in lockdown. You know who isn't in lockdown? This is the segue I'm doing now. Is Premier Scott Moe. Premier Scott Moe. Seems like a nice guy. I know he had some bit of history with like hitting someone with a car. That's not great. Obviously, I don't know why I brought that up. But he seems like a solid guy. Seems like he's in charge of a fairly small province, but a decently sized economy, right? So what does Scott Moe have to say about lockdowns? Well, he wanted you to know that actually lockdowns don't work. He made a very important distinction because he has implemented lockdowns in the past, but he has said that in this Omicron wave, lockdowns do not work. They hurt families, they hurt the economy, they hurt mental health. Let's just roll the clip and let Scott Moe put it in his own words, why don't we?
But it's now clear, at least in this Omicron wave of the pandemic, that lockdown policies can cause harm in our communities, often with little or virtually no benefit. They cause economic harm by taking away jobs and removing family livelihoods. They cause psychological harm by taking away social contact, most particularly for our youth. And they are an infringement on the rights and freedoms that we have come to enjoy and value as Canadians. And that's why they should only be used if absolutely necessary, and only if they can clearly be shown that they are being effective and they are working. And we're not seeing that as being the case today.
Of course, in Saskatchewan, you still do need a vaccine certification to get in, as you do basically everywhere in Canada. You need a pass to get in. Allegedly, when I was in Ontario, I just got in a few restaurants without needing anything. I've heard that that's since changed. That's also just an alleged story. I just kind of made that up. I did not go to a bar in downtown Windsor without my vaccine pass. Throwing that out there. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of safe haven for Canadians. At least in the U.S., you can move to like Florida or Texas if you have the money and the resources to move somewhere that actually aligns with your beliefs. But in Canada, we're all forced into this machine that has basically just stripped us of our rights and freedoms. I'm fearful of a world, actually, where the only children that are normal in the future are from Florida and Texas because they're the only ones that were socialized and didn't have to wear a mask between bites in school. If you know what I mean? Like Florida and Texas, historically not the most mentally stable places in the world. But I'm fearful of a world where everyone else in every blue state is all like schizoed out, fearful of the world, covering their faces, can't read social expressions, basically autistic from the inability to grow with other people. You know, when you're like 2 to 5, that's so important to be able to see your face and people's faces and understand little social cues and stuff. You're going to end up being Asperger-y if you don't get to read that stuff, you know? Even in like Islam, they don't put on a veil until you're like 12 or something, because I think they kind of understood when they're inventing their rules in the Quran that, yeah, we probably shouldn't mask like babies. Right? Yeah, right. So why are we doing it here? Because they can get sick, I guess. I can't keep going on this topic because apparently I'm going to start spreading COVID misinformation. I'm all fired up here, boys. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling strong. I just had a pizza. Anyhow, let's get going to the next topic. I want to talk about something that you probably saw was in the news. It involves Ronald McDonald and the charity that he runs, called the Ronald McDonald House Charity. If you're not aware, this is a charity that if your child, say, has leukemia, you could go to a city and use a Ronald McDonald House, because not all hospitals have like the advanced technology to treat a 4-year-old with leukemia. If you're from like Mount, Smithers or whatever, Lake Smithers in BC, you have to go to Vancouver to get the best treatment for your kid, and you can use a Ronald McDonald House free of charge, unless you're vaccinated. Woo! Woo! If you are unvaccinated, you cannot use a Ronald McDonald House charity because you're fucking stupid. So so this is a story. I'm sure you've already seen it by now, but it follows a family called the Fergusons, who seem like a very nice family. That were evicted for not being vaccinated. They said that they were putting other families at risk with their vaccination status. Of course, if you are vaccinated, you are not at risk of the virus. This is what we're told, that if you are vaccinated, you're not going to die or get hospitalized. Obviously, it's still a risk. But so it's a personal decision at this point, right? I mean, the vaccinated can still spread the virus and can still give other vaccinated people the virus. So it's all up to you. Anyhow, let's roll the video of the Ferguson family being told that they're going to get evicted by this pencil-pushing bureaucrat. Look at how she stands there, this authoritarian wench that has no sympathy and doesn't look the kid in the eye once. Does not look at this kid once because she doesn't have the courage to. Let's roll that video very quickly.
So this is a piece of paper. Can Lindsay zoom in on it? This is an eviction notice, I believe, to anybody older than 5 who's not vaccinated is getting evicted from Ronald McDonald House. So I'm just gonna go talk to the people at the counter and see if it's legit or not. So I just wanna get this straight. So by the end of the month, my 4-year-old boy with leukemia is getting evicted because we don't have a vaccine.
Parents.
This is, if he was 6 months older, he would be getting evicted. But yeah, because we don't have the vaccine, you're going to throw us on the snow with a few weeks' notice. Like, this is some kind of crazy evil like I have never seen in my life. It doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. Everybody knows you still have to wear the masks because you can go out and catch COVID, transmit it, and bring it back in. That's why vaccinated people have to wear masks still, so it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. So just, like, the idea is to make people safer. This isn't about safety. This is coercing people to get a vaccine, choosing between their children and their own beliefs, whether it's religious beliefs, whether they're hesitant to get the vaccine. My kid has gotten all his vaccines. We're not anti-vaxxers. This is absolutely an abomination.
So just let me get this clear. Are you both of you vaccinated?
No.
Okay. So what we're doing is protecting the safety of everybody in the house.
No, you're not. Because a vaccinated person can still get it and transmit it.
That's right. And so what we're trying to do is reduce our risks to the entire
That doesn't make sense. Your conscience is seared. Do you understand? This is absolutely evil.
So do you want me to...
You're evicting kids with leukemia, kids who have strokes.
Does that sit right with you? Anyway, this is what ended up happening. Ronald McDonald House Charity said, no, we're not evicting them. We're just relocating them to a house for the unvaccinated. All right, nice save there, Ronald McDonald House Charity. And how does this story end? Well, the family got like $150,000 Canadian on GoFundMe. It was initially only supposed to be like $5,000 or $10,000, I believe, to help the family with some costs. It exploded. It went mega viral. This story was huge, and the family seems to be doing well. They said they relocated, and now they've got some money. Hopefully, let's all pray that the kid is okay and gets the treatment that he needs. Nobody really watches this show anyway, right? Okay, my name is Roberto Wakerow Cruz. Let me know if I missed... Actually, I did miss a story. Are we going over time? Yeah, whatever. Who cares? So, Jordan Peterson is... I don't know if this guy's... What is going on? I would like to see Jordan Peterson run for office. I know he had some health troubles, and thankfully it seems like he's okay because he's on Twitter now, just like going out. He lives in Canada, right? So he has a say in Canadian politics, and he's going after the Liberals. I mean, fucking big time, right? Like, check out his Twitter, and you're going to see a bunch of stuff going after like ministers and premiers and stuff. He's shooting everywhere too. He's shooting Doug Ford, calling him a spineless coward who was elected to lead, but has no courage at all. Nice one, that's true. And he's going after now Stephen Guilbeault, who is the Minister of the Environment. If you did not see, the Minister of the Environment said in an interview with the Narwhal that he would like to phase out fossil fuels in the next 2 years. Pardon me? How are you going to do that? You know we live in Canada, right? You know it's like minus 30 degrees out right now when I go outside. If we get rid of fossil fuels, if we get a natural gas, how the hell am I going to be alive? This is like gas isn't just what you put in your car. You know? Also, just petroleum objects. I mean, like Tupperware, plastic forks, everything. I don't know. How the hell are we going to live with that without that stuff? Guilbeault said in this interview that obviously the mandate that they were elected to impose is going to be difficult to do with a minority government, but they're still going to try their darndest to ruin Canada. And that's what Jordan Peterson said. He did not mince words, and he made it quite dramatic, which I like. He said, Canada, Alberta, Saskatchewan, you need to bloody be ready because you will be sacrificed to the climate gods. That's pretty serious. And I mean, I agree. Guilbeault, by the way, who is short. We all know he's a very short authoritarian. He's like 5'4". I've seen him around Montreal. He's short. And as we all know, every dictator in history has basically been short. Hitler was short. Stalin was short. He was like 5'3". I'm not certain, but I'm gonna guess Mao Zedong was short, and I'm pretty sure Xi Jinping is short. Castro might have been tall because Castro is a little bit sexy, huh? But anyway, so Stephen Guilbeault says he's going to try to ruin the economy in 2 years. Jordan Peterson says, hey, you're going to isolate Western Canada. You've already lost the support of the Western Canadian provinces. Alberta and Saskatchewan could not want the Liberals less. I mean, how many seats combined do the Liberals have in Saskatchewan? I think they have 2 in Alberta, maybe 3, and they have a couple NDP. I mean, it's not looking good. So they've already won Canada's hearts and the parliament without the support of Alberta. Already they can ignore the wants and needs of an entire part of your economy. It's an afterthought. You don't even have to think of it. You already can win without a single seat in some of these places, which is not how a democracy is supposed to work, but okay. Jordan Peterson calling it out. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Jordan Peterson, and do you think he's maybe flirting with a political career? Because if there's anybody that's going to do it and do it right, I think Jordan Peterson could. If Jordan Peterson, the problem with the Conservatives is they haven't had really an image since Stephen Harper. It's still Stephen Harper's party. I think if Stephen Harper were to take the reins over again, that he would probably do much better than Aaron O'Toole does. The party doesn't have an identity, and it hasn't since the Harper era. So what do? You need to find somebody that actually stands for something and is tried, true, and popular. We know Jordan Peterson's popular. He's probably Canada's highest selling intellectual. I mean, 12 Rules for Life and Beyond Order probably did pretty well in Canada, I'm going to assume. People in Canada seem to like him. He writes in the National Post. He's very well known and respected. He's also hated. He's a very bit of a divisive figure, but I think Jordan Peterson could recreate the Conservative Party in his image, and that's the type of leadership we need. He's talked with Pierre Poilievre on Twitter. They've shared friendly words. They seem to like each other. He likes Pierre Poilievre quite a bit, and he also believes in a lot of the freedom things that Maxime Bernier puts down. And I'm going to say it, Maxime Bernier is right on a lot of stuff with the lockdowns that Aaron O'Toole has been totally spineless on. I'm off the O'Toole train. I know I was probably in the election. I felt like I had to be. Maxime Bernier wasn't going to win the election. He wasn't going to win a seat. Aaron O'Toole obviously clearly didn't have a chance, but we had to rally our troops, I thought, for one election. At this point, it's hopeless. Aaron O'Toole is a joke, and the Conservative Party, I think, needs to figure out a way to balance the actual Conservatives, the PPC's rights, views on freedoms and vaccine passports, and find a way to incorporate that into the party and find a way to get everyone to follow along with it. I think Jordan Peterson would be able to do that. Anyhow, I've gone way over, like 20 minutes into this episode almost. So let me know what you thought. This is more of a rant. I've kind of just I want to have more fun with this channel because I know it's only getting like 2,000 views anyway. So why don't I just go on like these little rants and just see what you think? Let me just throw it out there. My name is Roberto Wakefield Cruz. Please go down to the links below and check out our channel on Rumble, the Post Millennial, and the Post Millennial Clips. Please subscribe for a membership. That will go a long way. And please give a donation if you can. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.